We often have a very cliché image of highly intelligent people. We imagine someone who speaks loudly, impresses everyone, always has the right answer, and immediately looks brilliant. But in real life, intelligence does not always look like that. Very often, it is much more subtle. It shows up in ordinary habits, in ways of thinking, in small behaviors that people often misunderstand completely. Because at the end of the day, having a high IQ is not just about knowing a lot. It is mostly about the way someone processes the world, a way of observing, connecting, questioning, and analyzing. And sometimes what looks like distance, hesitation, or even weirdness is actually the sign of a very active mind. Here are 10 surprisingly common habits often found in highly intelligent people. The first is that they enjoy spending time alone. Not necessarily because they dislike people, but because quiet gives them room to think. When there is less noise and less stimulation, their mind can finally follow an idea all the way through, make connections, replay situations, and imagine different scenarios. Some people recharge through interaction. Others recharge through solitude. And for highly intelligent people, solitude often becomes an incredibly fertile mental space. The second habit is a curiosity that is almost impossible to switch off. These people want to understand, not just the big things, also the tiny details of everyday life. Why does this person react that way? Why do some rules seem absurd and still continue to exist? Why can one small shift in a habit change everything else? Their brain is not satisfied with simply accepting things as they are. It wants to look underneath. It looks for the hidden logic, the mechanism, the pattern. The third habit is talking to themselves. Yes, really. From the outside, it can seem a little strange. But in reality, many highly intelligent people use speech to organize their thoughts. Saying things out loud helps them clarify a problem, structure an idea, and keep track of their thinking. It is almost as if the thought becomes clearer once it leaves the mind. The fourth habit is that they are more comfortable saying, "I don't know." And paradoxically, that is often a sign of high intelligence. Because the more you understand the complexity of something, the more you realize how much you still do not know. People who think deeply usually feel less need to appear certain. They would rather stay open than defend a weak answer just to sound confident. The fifth habit is overthinking even small things. A slightly cold message, a silence during a conversation, a choice that seems completely ordinary. Where others move on quickly, they replay the moment in their head, consider multiple interpretations, and test different scenarios. It can make them seem like they are overcomplicating everything, but often their brain is simply doing what it naturally does, exploring every possibility. The sixth habit is a strong sense of humor, because humor is not just about being funny. It is about detecting mismatches, breaking expectations, and linking ideas that normally would not go together. In other words, it is a mental game. And highly intelligent minds are often very good at that game. Sometimes the humor is subtle, sometimes absurd, sometimes very fast, but almost always it works on multiple levels. The seventh habit is changing their mind when new information appears. A lot of people treat their opinions like part of their identity. Highly intelligent people are more likely to treat them as temporary hypotheses. If the facts change, they adjust. If a better argument appears, they revise. And even if that can look unstable from the outside, it is often the exact opposite. It is a form of intellectual strength. Being able to correct your thinking instead of clinging to it out of ego. And this is where people often misread these behaviors. Someone who likes being alone may seem cold. Someone who asks a lot of questions may seem annoying. Someone who changes their mind may seem easily influenced. When in reality, they may just be thinking more deeply, more honestly, or further ahead. The eighth habit is being mentally active at night. When everything finally slows down, their brain becomes even more active. The evening becomes a time when ideas rise to the surface, reflections grow deeper, and associations happen more freely. It is often the moment when big questions come back, sudden insights appear, or unfinished thoughts from the day finally get processed. The ninth habit is observing before speaking. In a group, these people do not always feel the need to jump in immediately. They watch. They listen for what is being implied. They notice the tension, the expressions, the contradictions, the invisible social dynamics, and only then do they speak. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they prefer to understand the landscape before stepping into it. And finally, the 10th habit is searching for meaning everywhere. In relationships, in decisions, in habits, in the way people hurt each other, attach to each other, avoid each other, understand each other, or fail to. Highly intelligent people often struggle to stay on the surface for very long. There is almost always a deeper question following them in the background. Why do we act this way? Why do we repeat the same patterns? Why do certain truths make us so uncomfortable? And maybe that is the real common thread behind all of these habits. Intelligence is not always spectacular. It is not always loud. It does not always try to be seen. Very often, it just looks like a mind that keeps exploring even after everyone else has already moved on. A mind that observes, doubts, connects, updates itself, and tries to understand other people a little better. And itself too. And maybe that is the quietest, but also the deepest form of intelligence.